So, chapter 10 is known as intermediate souls, and we are going to talk about souls which have a little higher maturity than the beginner souls. So, beginner souls in their peer groups they have somewhere like 10 to 15 souls, whereas intermediate souls have only 2 to 3 souls because they have a little bit understanding as to what needs to be done, what is the process of learning, and even the teachers visit them less frequently as compared to the beginner souls because the beginner souls require more help. So the intermediate souls keep on doing self analysis. They work with the 2 to 3 peers that they have, and there is a specific concept of parallel lives which has been described in this particular chapter. So one of the subject tells Michael Newton that he is leading two different lives, one in America and one in Canada. Now, the need over here is to understand that the soul that is there in these two bodies is not different. This is one specific entity. So, souls can split themselves. In fact, there is a particular mention that one part of the soul always resides in the spiritual world connected to the creator. So this is interesting. And why do souls choose parallel lives is in order to speed up the learning process, because once you end both the lives you will have more number of things to amend. There will be more mistakes that you'll have to learn from. Also, there is another reason that souls choose to have parallel lives, because if you have more number of life actions and life situations to analyze, you'll get to spend more time in the astral world. And since the astral world is a very blissful place, souls take this risk or take this opportunity so that they can get to spend more and more time in the spiritual world after death. Also, there are 4 different spaces which have been described in this particular chapter. The first space is called world of no ego. The second one is known as world of all knowing. The third one is known as world of altered time. And the fourth is known as world of creation and non-creation. So the first 3 worlds are actually part of the spiritual world. But the fourth world, world of creation and non-creation, is actually part of our physical universe. So we'll see what actually happens. So the first world, world of no ego, is where all the new souls go, because new souls have very low level of consciousness. They need to have a realization of self. They need to have some ego in order to sustain the physical life that they are going to achieve. So all the new souls go there, and the teachers, the masters, they train the new souls. They imbibe a certain level of consciousness, certain level of ego in them. The second world is the world of all knowing. This is where all the masters and teachers work with the creator to plan and design all the worlds, universes. There has been description of different universes. There has been description of different worlds being created. So the master is the one who is responsible to create all the elements, all the universe. And the spirits or the souls, the teachers, they can only transform life. We'll talk about this in the world of creation and non-creation. So let's talk about world of altered time. So world of altered time is basically a simulated world. For example, if I am from Earth, I'll get a simulation of Earth. And in that simulation, I can go to any place, anytime. You can play around with time. You can go to the past, you can go to some future events, right? And you can play around with time. You can go to a specific event, you can live that event and try and understand what went wrong and what was the learning or what different things we could have done. But this is a complete simulation. This is not hampering the reality that we know. This is just for use in the spiritual world. So all the 3 worlds that I have described, they are part of the spiritual world. But the fourth, the world of creation, non-creation, is actually part of our physical universe. So these worlds are nothing but another Earth-like planets. So yes, there is this discussion that there are other planets which are very similar to Earth, but those planets who do not have any intelligent life forms, these souls, intermediate souls, go there and practice the art of creation. Yes, you heard it right. Souls are required to know this art of creation. It's not just the creator. The creator does create the fundamental elements, but the souls need to practice and transform these fundamental elements. So the souls start with very basic things like rocks, soil, and if they don't like it, they can always disassemble it. And that is exactly what is the concept of creation and non-creation. If you are fusing different elements together to create maybe a rock, that is called creation, and if you don't like that creation, you can always disassemble it and you can create the fundamental elements. Not create, but you can reach to the fundamental elements. The creation is stored with the the creator. The creator is only responsible for creating the fundamental units, but souls can transform this. And once they are done with all the training, so as maturity moves on, as the soul matures, their level of creation also increases. So they can create different life forms like unicellular organisms, then multicellular organisms, then amphibians, then mammals, and so on. So as I already mentioned, that souls do go through maturity levels, but with maturity levels, we also have to learn the different qualities of the creator, so that once we are very close to the creator, once we are with the creator, even the master that are there, they help the creator in creating these life forms, right? The master might create the universe, but within the universe, creating different set of maybe planets or life forms, that is the responsibility of these souls, the highly advanced souls and also the intermediate souls. So that is all about in this chapter.